Today I have a fast and easy to make slime farm for you. We will go over how to make a basic version of it, a number of things you can do to make it extremely fast, and also show you how to make this full-size version that you see right here, as well as walk you through the ins and outs of how slime farms work. Hi, I'm Prowl, and I make both simple and not so simple Minecraft tutorials. If you want to support the channel, click the like button. And if you want more fast and easy tutorials, click the subscribe button down below. Now for materials, you're gonna need the following. For the one chunk version of the farm, you're gonna need 256 blocks per platform that you make, 1 jack-o'-lantern per platform, 2 iron golems per platform, and then for the iron golem cages, 48 fence posts plus 16 blocks for the golem to stand on per platform. For the killing floor, you will need 84 magma blocks, 2 iron golems, 48 fence posts to hold those iron golems in, and 1 jack-o'-lantern for the floor, and maybe a couple torches around the edges. And for 2 collection sites, you will need 40 hoppers, 16 chests, 80 rails, 20 powered rails, 10 levers, and 2 hopper minecarts. And if you want to make the 4 chunk version, which I'm building here in the tutorial, you're going to need 1,024 blocks per platform, 5 jack-o'-lanterns per platform, 4 iron golems per platform, and 96 fence posts plus 32 blocks per platform. Keep in mind, iron golems you can make with 4 iron blocks plus 1 pumpkin per golem. For the killing floor, you will need a total of 168 magma blocks, 4 iron golems, 96 fence posts, and 5 jack-o'-lanterns for the floor to light the floor up. Also, for the 4 collection sites, total you will need 80 hoppers, 32 chests, 160 rails, 40 powered rails, 20 levers, and 4 hopper minecarts. Now, if you're making the full-size platform here, like I did 15 layers, or maybe even less than that, you may need an AFK platform for you to sit somewhere in the middle of the farm. Make sure you make it out of spawn-proof blocks like glass, as I will show you in the video. Okay, so to make a slime farm, the first thing we need to do is actually not even in our world. We need to know where a slime chunk is. Now, if you want to learn all about chunks, I'm not going to do that in this video, but you can figure out how to find chunk borders from other videos. If you happen to be down in the caves down below and you see exactly where a slime spawns, you know that that's a slime chunk, but there's an easier way to figure those out. Let's head over to chunk base. But before we do, we need to know our seed number. Our seed number is going to be important when it comes to knowing exactly where to find our slime chunk, kind of. And what we'll do here is we'll go to chunkbase.com, we'll go to apps, we go to slime chunk. Now, if you're on Java edition, the slime chunks are different in every single world based on your seed number. On Bedrock edition, while the terrain may look different in every seed, the slime chunks are exactly the same. I am working from Bedrock edition of Minecraft, so I am going to go to the Bedrock version right here, and I've entered in the coordinates where I want to put a slime farm. Now, in this case, you can kind of see there are slime chunks all over the place. You can build slime farms that actually include quite a number of these slime chunks if you like to, actually. And while initially, while I was thinking about making this video, I was going to clear out enough area just for a single slime chunk, I look right up here and I see something that I like a lot. I see 4 slime chunks all touching each other. So what I'm going to do is we're going to make a quadruple slime farm. We'll be able to do this in an easy enough way to where we can capitalize on all of these spawning spots and make this farm incredibly fast. Okay, so I've marked out those chunks and I wanted to make it easy for you to see exactly what I am talking about. So the top left-hand corner of the screen that you can see there, that is the top left corner of my first chunk. That is an X coordinate of 1440, a Z coordinate of 208. And then if you are doing a single chunk, in this case, you would just do kind of like the green square, what I blocked it off, that would be at 1455 to 23. So if you're doing a single slime chunk somewhere in your world and you're pulling those coordinates from chunk base, that's what that's going to look like. Now, remember, in our case, we're doing 4 chunks that are in a square like format. So I'm going to go from that first top left corner, which was the 1440 208 coordinate. And we're going to go to the bottom right hand side of this square, which is 1471 239. Again, keep in mind, this could be based off of any coordinates you have in your world. I just wanted you to understand how to trace this area out. Now, as we do this, we're going to make sure that our slimes that we're spawning in, that they're going to be able to see the iron golems that they're going to be going after. We haven't talked about that yet. So if you're asking what does he talk about iron golems, don't worry, it'll come shortly enough. But what this is going to mean to us is that we're actually going to need a little bit of extra space around. That way, if a slime spawns in over here, it's able to see the iron golem that's going to be out in this direction. So what we're going to do is, whether you did the small slime chunk, just a single chunk, or you did the like 4 or some other type of shape like this, you're going to want to go out 3 blocks from your corner. So we're going to go out 1 diagonally, 2 diagonally, and then 3. I'm going to put a block right there, and we're going to do that on all the sides. I'm going to dig out this area first so I can properly show you what I need to show you, but you are going to have an option depending on how fast you want this farm to go, to either dig out everything here down to a certain distance, or to not dig out the surface, but dig out a portion underground. Let me get the area prepared so I can show you exactly what I mean. Okay, so I have a big hole dug out here, and you are going to have a few different options, and I've marked these options off in some of these colors. I'm going to explain that to you. Option number 1, first of all, remember, you can do the single chunk, which is this, and you would have a like 3 block wide gap all the way around it. Option number 2, in our area that we used here, we had 4 chunks available, so we did 4 chunks. Now, this can work for other designs as well, but the way that I'm showing you will not work if these like slime chunks are like, say, 3 in a row. They have to be in this kind of configuration of 1 through 4 different chunks. Okay, that being said, you have another option here. Option number 1, dig down. That means from the surface all the way down to the bottom, which I'll give you that level here in a moment. You're gonna dig it all out. This will get you your best rates. You'll probably get somewhere around like 10-15% increased rates if you do not have anything above your farm, and you can take advantage of surface spawns. I'll leave that up to you if you want to dig out that little bit of extra area. If you don't, then you only need to dig below this red line. And let me give you these heights, right? So we're standing at Y level 39 right now, because this is actually the highest level in which slimes will spawn. They will spawn at level 39 and all the way down to the bottom. And we have 1, 2, 3 block gap right here. This is the area in which slimes can spawn and need room to spawn. Technically, you could have like a half slab right here and have like 2.5 blocks between the layers, but that's not really going to be the most efficient way to do it, or the easiest way to explain it to you guys. So we're going to leave a 3 block gap between. Also, this allows bigger slimes. Nope. Which I have spawns turned off right now, which will allow larger slimes, not this guy, get out of here, like this guy, to be able to hop around and move a little bit. Otherwise, they'll get kind of stuck. So we want the 3 block gap. Now, in terms of where are you going to stand, you're going to be at what I have marked out as this middle layer right here. Actually, like this is the center of the farm. You're going to be right here, Y level 5. This will allow slime to spawn in all the way up in the corners of all of these different platforms on simulation distance 4. If you don't know what simulation distance is, don't worry about it. You don't need to. On Minecraft Bedrock Edition, your simulation distance by default is 4. If you turn it up higher, this farm will still work perfectly fine. And you could technically make it go down even deeper, although you 100% don't need to. It's not really going to make your farm that much faster. If you're on Java Edition, well, your simulation distance is typically going to be equal to your render distance unless you've changed that. So they can spawn up in the corners. If they jump off the edges anywhere, they're not going to despawn. Y level 5, this is where we're going to stand. And then if you want to fully maximize the farm, like get the most height possible out of this farm, you're going to dig it down all the way to Y level -30. I'm going to tell you that this is probably not going to be required for most of you. Most of you can probably just dig this thing down to this Y level 5 and then stop there, because you're going to end up getting 8 layers. And let me show you what I mean by layers. This is layer number 1. This is a spawning floor. And then we're going to go down 4 blocks, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then knock out those middle ones. So we have another 3 block gap right here. So you can take it all the way down to your middle layer right there, giving you 8 total spawning layers, which is honestly quite a bit. And then you're going to make your floor that we're going to show you here, if that's all you're going to do. But if you want to get the fastest speed that you possibly can, you're going to take this thing all the way down to the very bottom at Y level -30. Now, when you're doing Y level -30, start from the bottom and work your way up. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then work your way up to the top. And when you do that, you will end up with 7 layers here. You'll have a little bit of an extra gap here, a little bit of an extra gap here. It's not really that big of a deal. Now, we are not going to put those layers in yet because it is going to spawn an unmanageable amount of slime and it's going to make building this thing kind of hard. We are going to have to fight some slimes down here as we build this next layer. My advice to you, bring yourself a couple iron golems, which you can easily build by using 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks of iron and a jack-o'-lantern. And pro tip, on Bedrock Edition, it can be just a carved pumpkin or a regular pumpkin. That will work too. Okay, now we are actually going to make the killing / collection area first. If you're making a 1 chunk farm, just go ahead and center it inside of one of the chunks. You're gonna do the exact thing I'm gonna do, just kind of center it inside of a chunk. Will you please leave me alone? Just so you guys aren't distracted, I'm gonna turn the mob spawning off. If you're doing 4 chunks like this, you're gonna wanna center it on like the chunk lines. So remember, this is a chunk, this is a chunk, this is, and this is. So we're gonna like build it out right here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna use iron golems, just like you see me using right here, to take care of this. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go 4 up and then 6 out. So this is 6 blocks across, 4 blocks up, and we're gonna go 3 blocks deep. You're going to place a fence down right here, just like this. Our iron golem's gonna end up going in here. You do not need to put it in yet, because one of the things I wanna make sure that we can do is if we have a slime spawning all the way here on the edge, we wanna make sure it's able to see that iron golem. And I believe we could do that by knocking out 4 blocks this way, 2, 3, 4, and then just kind of making like a small like inset in the wall right here. So if I stand right here where Mr. Fox is, I could not quite see. So we're gonna go in 1 more, just like that. Now, if a slime spawns right here, even if the golem's tucked all the way in this corner right here, the slime will still see it. Now we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. And in the end, what you should have is something that looks a little bit like this. Now, I'm gonna take this process, I'm gonna repeat it to all 4 sides for the 4x4 chunk layout. Or if you're doing just a single chunk layout, you'll do that on this side and on this side. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is set up the little killing area for our slimes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pop out 2 blocks out from and underneath the fences that I've set up and put down some magma blocks. Now, I need to get access underneath of these. So I'm gonna go down underneath here and we'll make ourselves like an easier way to get under here in a little bit. But for now, just go ahead and dig yourself down just like this. And I'm gonna set down some blocks that we're gonna run a minecart on. Let's just run them just across like this. It could be whatever block you want to. I'm just using iron blocks because it's easy for you guys to see how much of what I use. And then we're gonna need a start point for our rails, which will be, say, right here. Put a couple rails there. And then this is just really quite simply going to go around like this, come around, and then we will put down a couple powered rails right here. And it's going to want to hook in right there. Just go ahead and delete that. Put this back down and kind of like loop it over first. And you can put down your powered rail right there. Loop it back around again. A couple more powered rails. And then a couple powered rails right here at the end. Okay, now we do need to be able to pull slime from this area. And we're going to do that with hoppers. So actually, like this one little section right here that I did, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to knock out 4 of these blocks just like this. And I'm going to, I can put down whatever. We'll put down a temporary block right here for now. I'm going to point a hopper into this and into this. I'm going to work my way around. I'm going to point a hopper into here and into here. So now any like time the hopper minecart rolls over this, it's going to deposit or have its items taken out from the area right here. It'll all come into this hopper right here because all of our hoppers are pointing to this one. I can go ahead, I can replace these now. I can go over like this and bam, there we go. So now our minecart's going to loop through, loop through, loop through, loop through and stop right here. I do need a block right there. I'm gonna put power on this block to power that. Put power on this block right here to power that. And we have 3 sets of blocks here in the middle that we need to power, which is going to be this, this, and this. You kind of see now all of those are powered. We can cover that up. We do not need to go back down there. Now, this is our drop off point, right? So let's actually make it that. Let's dig down however many chests worth of stuff we're going to want to store, and we're going to centrally store everything at each location. So this side, that side, and this side right here will all have its own storage. If you want to pull everything together to its own spot, by all means go ahead and do so. I don't want to get the storage system too complicated here for you guys, so we're not going to do that here in this video. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to place a chest here, here, and here. Ooh, we've locked this hopper. I just noticed this. When we power this block, it locks this hopper. We don't want that to happen. We want to power this block. Little things you got to watch out for, guys. Little things you got to watch out for. We're just going to run hoppers all the way down into these chests, make them all double chests. All that's good to go. And then what I'm going to do is cover this area up like that. I'm actually going to poke a little hole into the wall right here. Try to find out where I'm supposed to be. There we go. Give myself some light in here. Do some ladders up. Stand back here. Put a door down. And now I have an easy way in and out to get down here. And what I may do just to make life really easy is in the end, we'll connect like tunnels that go to like all of our different storage areas from down here. That way we don't have to walk around up here to go around, because that'd be kind of hard to deal with. And then really too, we could just take this all the way up to the surface and flood our tunnel. Bruh. Boom. Now we know how to get down here. Is it fancy? No, but will it work for showing you guys and give you guys ideas on things to do on your own? Absolutely it will. Oh, and one last and very important step, hopper minecart. This side is now 100% ready to collect slime balls. Well, almost. We gotta put an iron golem in here. And to make sure that no slime sneak their way in here at this 4th level block right here, we're gonna do that right here. I don't think we're gonna have to do that for the other layers, because we're gonna have more iron golems going up at every layer, but this will just make sure that we don't have any kind of issues. So what you did here, do it on all of the other sides. And here we go. I have them all set up and ready to go. And the method in which we're going to want to set this up going forward is to pretty much do something similar to, but not exactly this. We're going to put golems in the walls, but it's not going to have all the extra stuff around it all the way up, even with our platforms, because what we're going to have is, again, another platform right here, right? And one thing you should need to know about slimes is they are attracted to golems. This guy right here, I spawn him in. He's going to go and try to attack and kill the nearest golem. And this is where he's going to meet his fate. He's going to sit right here. He's going to keep bouncing on this until he dies. And as you can see, once they all die and all the slimes fall down there, everything got picked up by the hopper minecart there. And then this is going to happen on each layer. But the big difference is on these layers above. So like this layer right here, this slime, when he comes and when he tries to jump off here, he's going to be trying to get a golem. It's going to be like right in here. And actually, I just realized this, we need a floor right there for our golem to stand on right here. But the same thing is going to happen all the way up. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to just go ahead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let me show you this really quick before I do it. Actually, you see, I have these jack-o'-lanterns right here. Jack-o'-lanterns emit light and they are a spawnable block. So although it's not really a big deal if we only took up 5 spawning spaces on this big platform anyways, we're going to be efficient and we're going to use jack-o'-lanterns, because these jack-o'-lanterns will give enough light all the way around here to where when it's nighttime or just for having layers above us here, that we're not going to have any sort of issue with other mobs spawning. We only want there's a witch somewhere close by. We only want slimes. So putting the pumpkins, I think I did like 8 blocks out diagonally in each corner and then popped one somewhere right in the middle. We're going to do that on all the layers too, to make sure all of our layers are well lit. Okay, now I've actually started to get this set up, but here's what we're looking at. So I just added in one more floor, because you're going to want to do this one floor at a time. If you don't, it's going to make it harder to get the golems in, and it's going to make it harder to dig the areas out, and it's going to mean you're fighting and combating more slime as you do things. So we have our next layer 3 blocks up, just like we already set up, and we set a golem up here in the exact same way that we did down there, with just a couple of like kind of minor differences. The minor differences are that we don't need any magma blocks around him, but he's standing on the exact same size platform as the golem below him. There are fences at the exact same spot around him as there are here. We left all of these fences like the ones we put like around the top layer in. But instead of this being like air blocks, like nothing there, that's his floor, right? And then we're going to actually carve out this whole area around him, just like we did around this guy down there. So basically like this little carve out you guys did, you're going to want to take that all the way up to the top layer spawning platform. So from bottom to top of your farm, you're going to want this carve out. Let me actually get it in. Let me get the floors in and I'll show you what it all looks like. Okay, so as you can see, the farm is operational. We have all of the layers in, and I wanted you to see a small change I made. Actually, I got to show you two small changes that I've made as I have my second account sitting here AFK for something else I'm going to show you here in a moment. But we needed to make sure we caged these golems a certain way going up, and it actually required me to add on one more layer around of all of the fences. The slimes, I did test. They are able to see all the way till the very edge, and from all of the other areas, the golems to move towards them. But this was really important. It kept these slimes from jumping down into here and the slime balls getting stuck on top of the fence posts. So make sure you make that change. And then again, just kind of remember the golem's floor is even with the floor of whatever pad that you're working on. And in this case, since I had a bit of a gap here in the middle, which I may do something with this area when I make this farm in survival, I don't know. With this gap in the middle, there's just a big area. We make sure we put fences all the way through because we don't want anywhere for a slime to be able to jump off of and get stuck on. Another change I had to make is due to a bug that I found while I was actually testing everything, which had to do with the collection hoppers right here. For some reason, when the cart is going this way, it would drop items in these two hoppers, but not these two. When it's coming the other way, it would drop items in these two hoppers, but not these two. It does that on all four sides. I've checked every single problem solving thing I can. The hoppers aren't locked. There's nothing set up wrong about them. They're all pointing the right way. So this is what we have now. We actually are using a little bit more hoppers than I would like to. We're using 12 hoppers per side. So we have like two sets of hoppers that are looking forward and then going into the chest here. Two of them going into each chest. And then these hoppers just simply point to these ones. These hoppers simply point to these ones. So it's a pretty simple setup still. It just required more hoppers. This was to combat that bug that I found and make sure that that hopper minecart right there was depositing the slimes quick enough to keep up with the farm, because this farm is extremely fast. Now, next, I'm going to stay here in spectator mode because there's something else that's really important for you guys to know. And this is something that is another option for you, okay? And this optional thing has to do with spawn proofing, because the way Minecraft Bedrock Edition and Java Edition, but we're going to talk Bedrock specifically, works here is that mobs can only spawn within a certain range of you, right? On Bedrock Edition, if you're simulation distance 4, they can spawn, I think, up to 48 blocks away from the player on simulation distance 4, which luckily for us is not much bigger than the area we have here. If you play on a higher simulation distance though, or if you play on Java Edition, you're going to have to do what I'm about to recommend here a little bit further out if you want. So first of all, spawn proofing. What is it? Spawn proofing has to do with going into these surrounding caves and little like valleys and like dips and like just areas where mobs can possibly spawn, and actually going through and making it so mobs cannot spawn in here. I'm going to see if I can find a dark cave area around that we have some mobs that are actually able to actively spawn in that are close enough. Like here, right here, we have a skeleton just sitting in here. This skeleton in here, he is taking up our mob cap. On Bedrock Edition, we can only have a certain number of mobs alive at a time, hostile mob alive at one time. So having dudes like that little skeleton right there, or if there was anybody else close by, and they will slowly accumulate over time, it slows down our farm. And this is just close for simulation distance 4. If you're playing a higher simulation distance, you're going to have them spawning in even further away. You could have them spawning in out here. Any caves the mobs can potentially spawn in. So what does this mean? Well, if you want your farm to be as efficient as possible, like as fast as it can possibly be, you're going to need to go through and either in a short radius, 48 blocks around the player, or maybe just to be safe, go as far as 64 blocks out in a big circle around you. Make sure you find these caves and place torches in all of them. If you're on a higher simulation distance, you're going to have to go a lot further out than that. You're going to have to go maybe upwards of 128 blocks out. That could bring you way out here in terms of how far you have to go, and you need to light up all of your caves. So where does that leave us? What is my advice to you? What you should do first, start with your spawning floor all the way down at the bottom. However deep you plan on making this thing, start at the bottom, whether that be like I did with the 15 layers, or maybe your bottom floor is somewhere up here because you're only going to do 8 layers. Start there, get your collection system, your golems in, and all of that first. And then that floor right there will actually already start spawning slimes and bringing them in for you. Then go ahead and start adding as many floors as you decide you want, whatever the number may be. After you get that done, you're going to find you're getting a lot of slimes already. And if you don't need a ton of slimes, you might not need more than 1 or 2 layers of this farm setup. But what you can do is continue to build the farm until you get all of the slimes that you need. After you get the layers in that you want to have in, then maybe go through and dig out this roof area and get your extra surface spawns out of the farm that you're not getting. And then after you do that, calculate out how far out you need to go from your AFK spot, reach out in each direction and start looking for and filling in those caves. Now, for those of you that love to know rates, I did do some rate checks of this farm. You do have a little bit of loss as like some, especially the small ones, like fall down here and die. The only way to fix that is to make your carts go out much further or to use a laze to pick them up. In this case, the farm is so fast. If you're wondering the rates, it can range anywhere from about 5,000 slime per hour on the lower end of a 15 stack like this, all the way up to about 12,000 on the high end if you add in all of the extra efficiency gains that you possibly can. Now, before we finish up here, I do want to read a couple of your recent comments, and in this case, not so recent. I'm going to go all the way back to the last tutorial video I put out and pull a couple top comments from that. One we have here from Naus, whose rest of your name I don't know how to say. Just finished building 1 module from this farm on a switch with only 1 module and 4 lamps in the corners. It seems to produce around 30 cactus per hour. Perfect for what I need. Thank you for another awesome farm, Prowl, and keep up the great work. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. One of the things I always try to do in my videos is to make sure I explain how things work so you can make things as big or as small or even make little changes to the things in however or whatever way you want to, because in Minecraft, one size does not always fit all. So I want to make sure you guys know how to build everything. Here's another one. It says channel not found. I normally build a cactus farm right above my unbreakable iron farm by Prowl. Just build it high enough so the iron golems don't bump their heads, then sort all the poppy and cactus into a composter for a bone meal. That is an awesome use. I love seeing people combine farms together. Again, that's why I try to show how everything works. That way you kind of know what you can do, and combining farms together is always super fun. So anyways, I appreciate you guys watching today. Make sure you click that subscribe button. If you haven't liked the video already, make sure you do that, and then drop me a comment so I can read it in the next video. I'll see you next time. Bye.